Hey there, Bat Family. Welcome to this week's off-week content episode. It's a bit of an odds and ends because I am working through the process of doing multi-track editing and working with our new sound setup. The new stuff sounds great and I'm very excited to release it, but instead of doing something more traditional for this off week, I decided to give you all the bits and bobs of stuff that's floating around. The first thing that you're going to be hearing is the honorable mentions from our top 10 games to start a collection with. Then we're going to have Scott's response and personal review of Rubber, Paper, Scissors. Then we are going to give you our blooper reel because there's plenty of cut content and I've just been laughing too much at it. This week, you may also be getting a Games That Made Us from Scott. We also have the Gen Con wrap-up review conversation that we did, and that went very rambly and very weird. It was actually kind of hard to follow in its entirety, but the one nice thing about it is the moments that we are focused and having good conversation is totally worth listening to. So stuff like our conversation about Mad Kala and An Age Contrived, just the general feel of the con, there will be bits pulled out of that and released in the future as well. So with all that noted, let's go ahead and get into our honorable mentions for the top 10 games to start a collection with. So with all that out of the way, we mentioned, I think, 28 different games. We had very little crossover on these lists.
Yeah.
I think if you own any of them, you will have a hell of a collection. I think it's worth mentioning one honorable mention. What did we miss? What did we leave off for whatever reason? For me, it's Final Girl. Final Girl is the solo game right now. It is a phenomenal game where you are the final girl of a horror movie trying to survive and take out the serial killer in a slasher. They have done themes that are the legally distinct Friday the 13th. There is Poltergeist and Alien and just storybook fables. There's one based on The Thing, which that one is so good. There's even one that you are Mrs. Claus trying to survive against Krampus. It is a phenomenal series with a lot of modularity, and you can start for $40 because you can get the base box and the one film, but it's a solo game only, and that's hard to put on a list like this.
Solo games, I think, are very niche in the market, and so not a lot of people think. I didn't think to put any solo games in mine for that kind of reason. I thought about the whole togetherness thing or having people over for game night.
Right.
My honorable mention, I had 3 in the running, but I just whittled it down to the 1 for brevity's sake. Suro is going to go ahead and be my honorable mention. It was easily be able to swap out with Elements, but Elements just had a little bit more in-depth character to it. You can play up to 4 people.
8.
Yeah, that's
Plays
right.
8.
It's 8 people. My bad. You're just dropping tiles and following the paths on them, but the way that you do it is just the perfect little mix of tactics and chaos. Mm-hmm. Because
you can teach this game to anybody.
And you can accidentally go ahead and take a friend that's right next to you right off the map and not even know it. And that's just the beauty of it. They've got a couple different versions, and then there is an expansion now with kaijus and stuff in it, which is really, really cool. The Sea Dragon one? I can't remember what it's called.
Is that just in Sur of the Seas, the second one?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
Sur of
that's
the
why.
Yeah.
I
there's
vastly
the
prefer the
Phoenix.
first one.
Phoenix was interesting. Seas is just utter chaos.
Seas gets fiddly because you can move the tiles that are already laid.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
I give the game a 10. It does not deserve a 10, but for sheer nostalgia and for how much I just enjoy that game, It's so good.
Suro is fantastic. You play that a bunch of times. You can drop in from time to time and play the Seas version just for the utter chaos it brings. But base Suro is...
Also play it cooperatively, where you try to keep a partner alive the whole game. I mean, somebody's going to go off eventually, but it's so fun to play it that way.
My honorable mention, don't have that many abstract games that are on the list, and I feel that abstract does at least need to have a good touch. It happens to be one of my favorite abstract games, and I think probably the reason why it's one of my favorites is because it's the one that's the most unusual for me to play, because I like being the ghost, because I don't talk in Mysterium.
Interesting. Okay.
Love Mysterium.
Interesting that you're classifying this as an abstract.
Because of the cards.
Okay.
There is another abstract game out there that uses tarot-sized cards called Dixit. You're sitting there and you're trying to come up with a phrase, and a bunch of cards come out, and you're trying to guess Mysterium, you are playing a ghost, and other players are the mediums, and they're trying to get the information from you, but they can only get the information for one of the guests that were at the party that you were killed at. But it's all cooperative.
And all the cards are abstract. There's no blood or anything on there, so you can play it with kids, you can play it with grandma.
It's just absolutely crazy, and I loved it from the moment I played it. It's still on my shelf.
And it's a game that you do not need the expansions for.
No, you really don't.
Like, there's so much game in that box, but if you really want more, they exist.
Yeah, Mysterium.
We recently released our 5 games to transition a game night with, and that was a largely solo recording of mine because we were trying to figure some stuff out with the new recording equipment, and I just went ahead and recorded without Scott for that one. He wanted to give his particular rebuttal for
Rubber, paper, scissors. I agree with the majority of Mark's list, other than, obviously, rubber, paper, scissors. I am the type of person, when I want to play games, that I really enjoy the whole space, and if I feel like I'm having a good time. And unfortunately, after the second round of playing rock, paper, scissors, I stopped having fun. In fact, not even just I stopped having fun, I stopped caring. You can't have a game that has a mechanic that is so simple that it doesn't invoke anything out of you. And for me, just playing rock, paper, scissors, even though tic-tac-toe was involved, wasn't enough for me to even deem this worthy of my time. After the second round, I just didn't care. And Mark thoroughly trounced me, but again, I didn't care. You can have a mechanic that is simple, but if there's nothing behind it, it just doesn't seem to carry any weight. If there would have been a little bit of bouncing around the board, like in a strategy like tic-tac-toe, maybe that would have made the experience a little bit better. But then I'm house ruling in a game that was really, really simple, and why didn't they think about that in the first place? Now, I will state that the components were very, very nice. It had a great price point, and I know there's going to be people that like this game, but due to the fact of I was completely apathetic before a third of the round was done, yeah. I know Mark really feels like he's going to keep it, but I doubt it.
Welcome back to All You Can Board. Nope, that's the wrong channel.
A lot of your events that are going to happen at Gen
Well,
Con...
give yourself an intro, because the intro to this segment is currently this.
Okay.
On a player's turn... Lost my position.
Oh, I'm making sweaters for cats? Sold.
I am trying to remember the name of the Stromboli place we went.
Holy Stromboli?
No, it wasn't Stromboli. It was Calzones. 1 second.
I made that up completely just to fill time. Holy moly Stromboli.
It sounds like a thing it could be, you know?
It should be a place, and if it's not, we'll make it one.
Yeah.
You're a bad board.
You're a bad board game.
You're such a bad board
game. So bad the board game you are.
I think this is just the blooper episode.
Stop! Do you have a blue key? If you do not have a blue key, you must go back to the start.
That is actually a pretty decent rendition of a part of the game.
Besides food and all of the gaming and shopping that you can do, hanging out with your friends, there are plenty and plenty of events. Oh, great. That's it. He's hurt his rib. Just keep making him laugh. Then he'll sneeze, and then he'll be in more pain.
The best part is this is all getting edited.
I just keep hearing and seeing everybody was kung fu fighting you over the
chicken. Yo. Okay.
Kung fu chickening.
Yep. I'm going to poke you in the rib. Anyway, and you'll...
More stuff to edit out.
Yep.
I think my parents might still have our copy, but it was all, like, replaced. So, like, some of the pieces... Like, you remember the old football, like, Tecmo football
Oh, yeah,
games?
the shaky football? Yeah.
We had to use those little guys in place of some of them because our minifigs were just yeeted somewhere else. So we had them to put on the stuff.
I want you to know that this is recorded.
Yes!
And this is going to go on the blooper reel at some
Yes!
It is awesome.
Oh my god, I love that game.
They're not always bad guys.
They're just misunderstood.
Just because you're a bad
The most
guy does
wicked
not mean you're a
winner.
bad guy. No.
Chicken! Yo!
Everybody was kung fu chicken.
I've got nothing else.
Okay. You guys suck.
Yeah, my favorite.
See, I pointed it out, and now you noticed it.
No, you noticed it, and we saw it on your face.
Yeah, I was like, he said so. Yeah. I wasn't even paying attention until you started to, you started to break.
You don't understand. It took me 6 hours of editing for episode 1. It took me almost 8 for the top 10. I now know our fucking quirks.
Yep.
Yeah, that happens. I would rate this conversation at least a solid 8.
The ending's like a 3, but I think
leading up
to
it. Transitions and endings are hard.
They really are. And it is late, and my eye is itching terribly.
Yeah, it is.
That's going to get edited out.
Yes, it will.